Who knows? Maybe. Okay. All right. We'll see. I apologize, Scott. I really apologize, Norm. That was not intentional. Okay. Reviewing the current budget. What, if any, are your concerns, and what changes would you like to make, if elected, or in the future council sessions? And we'll start with you, Scott.
Thank you. We just had a routine budget adjustment meeting the other night. We are finishing this year, and Doug is in the back. He can correct me if I'm citing this a little wrong. $484,000 ahead of budget. So I feel pretty good about that. I feel that our budgeting process has worked tremendously well, especially over the last 4 years, especially in the face of steeply declining revenues and the fact that we've kept our level of service, our public safety, our progress on what we have been able to do in our capital improvement projects, and the formation of a lot of new initiatives in the city where we've gotten a lot of bang for our buck. I would continue doing exactly what we're doing with none of the complacency that Carlos fears. We are audited every year, as we're supposed to be by law, required by law. Our auditors are certified public accountants who are experts in municipal finance. We have not even received a report to management from these auditors in many years that I'm aware of. Certainly not last year. Meaning that if there's a report to management, there's some issue as to a weakness in the process that we can fix. Absolutely not. Our budgeting, our financial reporting, everything else is well within the best practices, and in fact, in many ways prescribed by these same licensed professionals who the state entrusts to make sure that the money is collected and reported and budgeted in good hands. So I'm very proud that we finished ahead of budget. I'm very proud of the level of service we have in the city. I'm very excited about going forward on a strong economic platform. It ranks us within the top single-digit percentage of any cities in this state. And I give a lot of credit to my colleagues on the City Council for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, Norm?
Yeah, speaking as a resident and now as a candidate, I'm really proud of the fact that Dana Point is not in the newspaper listed with some of the cities that we see in Orange County, like Costa Mesa and Stanton and others, that have overspent and are behind the mark, and they're having to cut back on safety and services to their city in order to try to scramble and balance the budget. I think our city staff, who I've worked with now 15 years, has done a marvelous job of anticipating the downturn in the economy and reducing the expenditures so that we have the surplus that you just heard from Councilman Schofel. This is good management, and I want to be a part of that. I want to continue with the management that we have from the staff that do not overhire, do not overspend, and keep the city safe and not have to reduce our expenditures for the nice things that we want to keep this a 5-star city. And that's why I'd really like to continue that forward, and if I get your vote, that's my commitment to the budget process.
Thank you, Norm. Ed?
I think the city's done an excellent job in managing the finances for the city and for the residents. I see Bill Bro back there in the audience. I've attended some city council meetings, and I will say that I would like to be a little bit of a Bill Bro if I am elected to the city council. He's meticulous in the way he goes over the finances, and that's somebody that could be a good mentor for me in the next upcoming years. Can never take our eye off the ball. As Carlos said, we can't get complacent. It's one of these things that you have to study, you have to stay informed, and you have to stay on it at all times and never let your guard down. As everyone said before, we're not facing the challenges that some of the other cities are dealing with today. That's because the guys have done a great job. Let's keep it that way.
All right, thank you, Ed. Carlos?
Dana Point indeed is very fortunate for having a good staff that takes a look at our budget and keeps us out of the newspaper, as has been said. When I do my own personal financial budget, I kind of look at what I have that year and plan forward. I don't plan on the government increasing my Social Security. I'm retired, or the interest rate going to be 4 or 5% when I don't even know what it is right now, 1% or less. I'm not really privy on how the city does their budget managing, but I'm pleased to hear, as they say, they have periodic budget adjustments, which means that you do take a look at where we are, what we were hoping for, and what do we need to do different. And it's those ideas that we need to have freedom of expression to try and figure out where we're going. Doing a forecast based on projected earnings, based on projected tourism, can lead us down the wrong road. And we have felt that, we have adjusted accordingly, but I'd like to try and make sure that we pick a system that gets us to that point where we can put money in the bank and earmark it for our town center for Doheny.
All right, thank you. Thank you, candidates. Okay, the next question. What's your position with regards to government regulation with issues such as plastic bags, code enforcement, plastic water bottles, styrofoam containers, etc.? And we'll start with you. Ed, we'll start with you.
For me, it's a simple matter of government intrusion into our daily lives. I'm against the bans, flat out. And the reason why, I think America has gone into a period where there's excuses. People need to be responsible for their behavior. They need to be accountable for the behavior. I don't think we should penalize local businesses with increased costs and challenges about how many people they can keep on employed at times when we're in an economic downturn. I think if our children grow up with the respect necessary, we'll keep our beaches clean, we'll keep our town clean, and I think that will have a lot more people employed and we'll have a lot less government intruding into our lives. Thank you.
All right, Scott?
My record on this issue is abundantly clear. There were about 4.5 months of public hearings at the city council level. Somehow in the process, what started off as a local economic development measure that was urged by our 4 major resort hotels so that they could create an environment, the city could help them create an environment that could help them go out and be competitive, not only on a statewide and regional basis, but also an international and national basis. Got turned into an abridgment of personal freedom, and that wasn't the point of it at all. It was truly a measure to enable, and remains a measure to enable our job creators, our biggest job creators here in the city of Dana Point, create thousands and thousands of jobs, and the tourists that they bring to town halo out to the rest of our businesses here. Keep those people employed, keep the revenues going. So this notion that what was driving the ban on single-use plastic bags was some way of not holding people accountable for littering, things like that. It just isn't accurate. I believe then, I believe now that it's going to turn out to be a tremendous boon to the future economic development of this city. Our environment is our business. It's very clear that in a marine environment like this, the two are so closely tied together you cannot separate them. It was a measure that was being considered and in fact adopted by many, many cities at the time, and has been considered and debated heavily at the state level. But in my view, and at that time, it was clearly a local economic development measure. I didn't want the state telling us how we should be competitive in our economy down here then, and I don't want them to do that now. So that's my position.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Scott. Okay, Carlos?
I publicly have spoken against the plastic ban that the city council adopted at a Civic Association coffee chat here 9 months ago, maybe a year ago. I spoke against that ban when we were just discussing it because we were talking about it before the city council had gotten to it. that day it was kind of a overcast, drizzly day, and I took exception to the use of single-use plastic bags. I wore a plastic bag on my head as a rain cap, so that's another use. My daughter has taken a string of plastic bags, crocheted them into a little beach purse. The sand goes right through it, you can rinse them all out. She's even thinking about crocheting a doormat out of these plastic bags. So there is a reuse for the plastic bags. The plastic bag ban has put a burden on the residents and the businesses within Dana Point. The people who we have the problems with, because we're a tourist destination, are those from the outside who would either shop on their way to the beach and then leave their trash behind. We have trash all over the place, but we have some very good nonprofit groups. Zero Trash is the first one that comes to mind. They're out there the first Saturday of every morning, each morning on Saturday morning, picking up trash. During the public hearing, there was one lady that mentioned that she had picked up about 25 plastic bags off Doheny Beach. So we are showing the responsibility, we the residents are showing the responsibility for how to manage this. That it belongs with us and we ought to set the standard. As I said earlier, what was mentioned is that this issue started with the 4 hotels. Remember my motto, residents first.
Thank you, Carlos. Norm?
Well, I can tell you, I supported the ban on plastic bags and styrofoam. Recently, I went out with the Earth Ocean Society to work on Doheny Beach with a bucket and pail, picking up little pieces of styrofoam and cigarette butts and all kinds of things out there. It's nice that the residents are willing to come and clean up the beach. It's nice that, but they don't come down my street and clean up the plastic bags that are blowing around in the neighborhood. So to say that it's the residents picking this trash up is the way to deal with it is not the best way. Yes, we do have guests coming to our harbor, and yes, they do bring their sandwiches and lunches and groceries with plastic bags. So that'll be a challenge for sure. But the fact of the matter is that we can do better. When I'm sailing out of the harbor and see them floating in the water, it is really an ugly mess to see plastic bags half filled with water. And when you put them into the landfill, they're going to be there for centuries, and they're just not going to go away. So why not take a leadership role in a coastal community such as Dana Point to say, you know what, just don't throw them around. We don't want to have to come pick up your trash on Saturdays. Carlos mentioned 25 bags on the beach. Well, that was the day they were there. But what about the days when the wind's blowing and we don't have volunteers out there grabbing 25 bags? Then they end up out there in the water, and they end through the creek and the river. It's just not a good thing. And I think the city council did the right thing.
All right, thank you, Norm.